He's also now our head of IT and a whole list of other things. He's our spirit animal.
Yep. In case you guys haven't noticed, I make up the IT and just tell people stories.
Yes. Okay. We are officially live, 4 minutes late. Apology for those of you that have been hanging out here and listen to us wander around. But super stoked to be here. I can't believe it's time for another kickoff of the newest OV 100 mile challenge. This year has been incredible. It has grown. Every single year that we've done this program has grown and grown and grown. And this year we've seen even higher levels of growth. And because we changed up a little bit of like what we shipped out initially, we're actually gonna be able to continue to take participants for just a little bit longer. And we're hoping to break 1,000 people doing this challenge with us, which we are stoked about. That's our goal. We didn't think that was possible when we started it out, but it's just so many of you guys come back and repeat this. So many new people hear about us talking about it, I'm sure, throughout the year. And at this point, we're looking like we can pass 1,000 people, which is such a cool number for us to be able to cross. And that's not because of like the money this brings in. I hope that you guys understand that we really don't make money on this program. By the time we pay for the turn hoodies, the finisher prizes, the books, the shipping, the 2 times we have to ship things to you, we try to break even on this. And so with that in mind, we're still super stoked because we know how much this changes lives. We know how much positive impact this has. And to us here at Outdoor Vitals, that is our entire mission, is to connect people to the vital outdoors. And this program right here, this framework that you guys have, these hikes that you're going to go do, this is what it's all about. So we are super, super stoked to have everyone here. Now, I'm going to try to read the comments as we go, but we've got over 200 of you on here, and it's going to be wild. So Derek, here off camera, do your best to follow comments.
We got some resumes being pitched in for IT and marketing.
Yeah, catch us in a time of need. You might get a better interview here. So yeah, send us your offer. No.
Yep.
But yeah, we are super, super stoked for this. And today, just a couple of things that I wanted to touch on that we're going to cover. We are going to go over a giveaway. So we're going to have a giveaway for those that are still on the live stream.
This is a sneak peek.
Yeah. Why don't you walk them through really quick what we're giving away?
Yeah, so we're going to give away 2 of these sweet custom Outdoor Vitals mugs and a ton of Scratch Labs electrolytes to help you on your training days, as well as we're going to be giving away your choice of an Outdoor Vitals sleeping bag or top quilt. So depending on where your trip is this summer or fall, you may need a different bag, and we will set you up with exactly what you're wanting. So, but the catch is you got to stick around to the end of this live stream in order to be entered to win.
Yeah. And so along with this, we're going to talk a little bit about the course itself. We're going to talk a little bit about future live streams, and we're going to bring some guests back this year. And so that'll be a huge lift, I think, to you guys, and you guys will be able to ask questions to not only us, but also to some of these people that we're going to bring on. So, yeah. What do you want to jump into first here, Tyler? You kind of put together an outline, but I'm just amped to be here, and I can talk about anything.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here as well. Like Tayson said, when we started the OV100, we just wanted to see if people would be as into it as we were. And we have been so impressed and excited to see just how many people are participating and see what the results are of everyone trying it. And so what I wanted to go through while we introduce you guys to the challenge is really what you can expect to get out of your experience with the OV100. And so the first thing is no one does 100 miles by accident. Like, you can do a 20-mile hike. I think I did a 32-mile hike by accident.
By accident?
Well, you get caught in the wrong spot and you do a whole lot of extra miles, right?
I might have been on that one.
But no one does 100 miles by accident. And that was why we chose 100 miles as the challenge. It's a big deal to do your first 100-mile trip. And so first and foremost, what you're going to get out of the OV100 is a huge sense of accomplishment. by the time you do all the training, you do all the prep, and then you go out on your 100-miler, or you do your stacked trips where you're doing multiple overnight trips, you will have put in a lot of time and effort. You've had some amazing experiences. You've gritted through some hard stuff, and you will have accomplished a lot. And we're really excited to do that with you.
Yeah. I was just scanning back through these comments here. We have people from absolutely all over the country, which is so cool to see. Just all the different hikes that they've been doing. But just to build on what Tyler was saying, in 2024 we actually had maybe our most challenging year yet to do a 100-mile hike, and I ended up going out and doing a Wind Rivers loop that was 100 miles, just completely solo. I had to do it pretty quick in basically 4 days of hiking, and it reiterated so much to me the value of this. I'd never done 100 miles solo, and it was one of the most powerful experiences of all of 2024 for me. I ran a 100-mile ultramarathon, and I did that, and between those two, it just reconfirmed how valuable these are, and not just like, oh, that was a cool experience, I saw cool stuff, absolutely, but the mental, emotional side, the de-stress side, the physical component of it, and the ability for you to come back and just be, for lack of better words, a bit of a different person. There's this concept called misogi, and I've been wanting to talk about this forever, and I've talked a little bit about it in the past with the challenge, but this concept is that like once a year you do something outside that is physically very, very hard, and that you have like a 50% chance of not even finishing or completing. And this is a Japanese terminology, and the concept though is that if you go do something like this, it's like a cleansing of the body. It readjusts perspective. It does. Man, it's hard to just explain all of these benefits, but like it just recenters you internally from your soul to your physical body, and that is exactly what we expect for all of you in this challenge. If you work this plan, if you participate, you're going to have that level of transformation. I can promise you, because I've seen it in my life for 4 or 5 years in a row now that we've done this challenge. And also I've seen it again and again and again with participants that choose to share at the end. So maybe let's share a few quotes here of participants, and then we'll kind of move into a few of these other details. Before we get into some of these details though, we are going to be monitoring questions. We do want to make sure that on every single live stream you have direct access to us for questions. And the questions can be tactical, they can be about the challenge, they can be about backpacking, they can be about training. We're willing to take anything that is valuable to the group. So be thinking of questions right now so that we can do that. Also, there are some people in there already lobbying, saying like, I really need a sleeping bag. So
All right. Well,
there's people making their cases over here already.
Derek's the one running the random picking of it. So yeah. So to start out, we had this experience. We had every year I ask for everyone's experiences in the survey that we put out at the end to figure out what went well in the challenge and how we ran it, what didn't go so well, but also what your experience was. And we always get amazing stories out of that. And so one of these is from Susan Shriver, and she said, I gained a tremendous amount of self-confidence. I set a goal, trained, and delivered on that promise to myself. I could not be more proud of myself. She says, fear set in at a fresh bear sign, but after a Zolio text to a friend, I survived the situation and calmed the F down. So I thought that was a funny one.
That was pretty funny, actually. This one's from Justine Salas. Pushing myself on the long days with a heavy pack has given me quite the confidence boost for any future outdoor endeavors. I'm over the moon that I was able to hike over 16 miles in a day.
Yeah, another one from Rusty Livingston said, on a normal hike when the weather turned bad, we would have just bailed. Because of the challenge, we continued and finished and proved that we had what it takes.
Man, that's so true, though. Pushing through some of those storms and weather, I mean, in a safe way. The other side of those storms, when they break, can be the most iconic and beautiful experiences on the mountain or wherever you're at. Or even when we were hiking on the AT trail. Man, you everything looks great when it stops raining.
Oh yeah.
You're real happy. This one from Justin Owen. My trip exceeded my expectations exponentially. The training framework absolutely helped to prepare me for this, which 2 years ago, I never would have imagined I could complete a 100-mile trip. Because I don't live close enough to high elevation to be able to train for it, I was worried about being able to adjust to that quickly enough. But learning from past experience, I was able to plan out my trip and absolutely crush miles without ever feeling like the elevation was affecting me negatively. That's awesome. Sweet. So this is what we expect from you guys. So when you get out there on trail, be prepared to share. We love this. This is why we do it. We do it for the stories, for what we hear back, and for the impact that we feel like we get to have. So
yeah, I think to sum it up, along with that huge sense of accomplishment, what you're going to get is confidence. And you'll have confidence in yourself, but also confidence in the backcountry. So we're really excited. Now, the next thing that you get by joining the 100-Mile Challenge is the 100-Mile Framework. And this is our third iteration of it. And we're adding to it every year, as well as just trying to refine what's there as we go. And so we're really excited to share this framework with you. All of you who have participated in the previous years, have helped us to prove this framework out, and it just gets better and better. So we are super excited to have this, as well as the online training platform that Derek has built for you guys to make it as easy as possible to learn what you need to do and track your training as you prepare for your trip.
yeah, there's a lot of love and positivity in these comments right now. Definitely appreciate that, you guys. Also, you see that kind of stuff in our Facebook group constantly. So if you've not yet joined our close Facebook group, go back to, or I think you can find it here, but go find the link in an email or in the Thinkific course and join the Facebook group. By way of introduction, though, how this system works, if you kind of go to the table of contents here, you're going to see how these weeks break down. You do not need to study everything in here all at once. We've broken this down so it's in bite-sized increments. And on that note, like we've considered multiple times, like creating a backpacking course and all these kinds of things, but we find that this is the best format that we found, because all we do is we help you study and work on the next most important thing for you in your plan. If you know, sometimes you're going out there and trying to figure out how to backpack all at once or do 100 miles all at once can be like drinking from a fire hose. This is meant to drip that down to you so that you can, take all of the information that you need at the right time. So just follow along week by week. You're going to have the course in here where you can read this and refer back to it. You're also going to have the ability to go and watch the videos that accompany this file and can help answer and bring any clarity to it. Now, if between those two things you have more questions, you're always welcome to answer us directly. But the whole idea here is that you don't need to do all of it at once. You're welcome to, if that's how you want to do it. But really, this is supposed to be bite-sized and incremental. So every week, there'll be a small chapter in here of 2 to 3 pages, and there'll be a video, I think usually between 10, 15 minutes to watch. So very, very minimal. And I promise you, if you work these plans, you're going to have success. Now, these start right away with some of the physical sides of it, finding your baseline and kind of starting off your training. And then we get straight into the goal setting and planning. A lot of times people get real excited about gear and all sorts of things, but until you know what the trip is that you're doing, it's hard to dial in gear and those kinds of things. And we know that you guys are going to be trying to do likely more miles than you normally do. So we always want to start off with training, because training is the least forgivable of all these things. Technically, you could order all of your gear, have it show up a day before you leave, but you can't start training a day before you leave, show up on the trailhead and have the same success. So we harp on training a lot because we've seen how many people, the training side, the physical side, how many people it just derails and takes off the trail. And that can be both physical preparation, that can be fueling, as in food and water and salt and electrolytes, things like that. That's all going to be built in pretty early in all of this. And you might be saying, oh man, I didn't sign up for a gym coach here. But the truth is, that's what sometimes is needed to accomplish these goals. So we do start off with basically planning and some of the physical side. And then as we get farther down in here, you see we get into a lot of the safety concerns, the gear, how to lighten your backpack, navigation, all these kinds of things. And it's, like I say, dripped out in a very structured way, because we feel like this is the way that we ourselves and our those of you that have been around this challenge before have found really effective to prepare yourself to go do this 100-mile challenge. So that's the rough layout. So if you're brand new to this, have never seen this before, that's how the system is going to work. So I talked a little bit about the Facebook group. There is also another group you can join. That's through an app called Strava. It's basically a kind of like a social platform for tracking and sharing like hikes and training and all that kind of stuff. This is not a required one, but it is pretty fun. And it helps build that community again of inspiration and motivation to see how many people of the hundreds and hopefully thousands of you that are training alongside each other and motivating each other. And we just encourage a bunch of positivity in both the Strava group and the Facebook group. It's tremendous what you can do together as a group. Even if you're going to go hike this solo, knowing that you're a part of this bigger thing is really inspiring and motivating. And it helps you, like when you want to, say, sit on the couch instead of go for a small hike or do some kind of training or do a little bit of planning, it helps you with that motivation to make it happen. So both of those are great groups to be a part of.
Yeah, and what I like about the Strava group in particular is once you set Strava up to either sync with your phone or your like GPS watch, then it can just automatically post your activity to Strava, and you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to log in and make a post. You don't have to go anywhere. You can just have that show up in the group, and then that's one really good tool for accountability as well as for tracking your training, because it will give you stats on how many miles you've done that week and how your fitness is increasing and all of that kind of stuff. So it's not just a social media thing, it's a training tool, but it's got both sides, and I think you'll find it really fun to use if you haven't used it before. Yeah. So we're going to get into a lot of the mechanics.
One other thing on that. The other major benefit of tracking through Strava is it simplifies polling and looking at kind of like your weekly statistics. So if you're not someone who's like going back and like, all right, I did 3 miles today, Strava will auto like log those if you're going to be tracking through Strava. And then you can just go back later and look, all right, what was my weekly totals in mileage or amount of elevation I climbed or descended. We do have a couple people just noting on this, and I know this is always a hot topic, about like tracking their actual trips. People kind of worry about that early because a lot of people don't use their watch. They don't want to burn up their phone battery. So based on the feedback that we've had year over year with people struggling to submit or just having problems with tracking their actual 100-mile endeavors, we are changing that up this year. So maybe go over just the highlights of that.
Yeah, so
take some stress out of these people.
we are not requiring even a GPS track for the final trip submission at the end of this period here, beginning of October in 2025. That said, we do want you to take photos of you on trail when you're doing your 100-mile challenge trip or stacked trips. And we want you to send us those photos as proof of you doing it, but we are not going to require you to track GPS tracks the entire time. And we're going to simplify the submission process. It's going to be one survey. You'll find the link to that survey in the course modules, as well as we'll be emailing it out towards the end of that period, and you'll be able to submit through that way. Same with Strava. There's no requirement for you to be on Strava or Facebook in order to get the finisher's pin and shirt. It's all just for fun and for helping you to get the most out of your tracking and things. So
yeah, a couple other things I want to touch on as far as what they're saying here. Are we going to require them to like give us a pre-trip itinerary though, like to show it's 100 miles or something like that? Is that going to be part of it?
No,
Okay.
not as far as a pre-trip.
Okay.
Well,
like when they submit though, like kind of say I'm going from here to here, and still kind of show that it's.
Yeah, we'll ask what your trip was and everything, but it won't be two surveys. It'll just be one survey after you finish.
Okay.
So
yeah, the big thing there is just this. The spirit of doing 100 miles is more important to us than the technicality of doing 100 miles. Now, some of you guys will latch on to the technicality, which is great. I mean, if that is what helps, like for me, I know if I hike 99 miles, I'd be like, I've got to do another mile before I get in the car. Like that's just my personality. But really the goal of this is to get you into the outdoors and to build confidence and to make you push harder than maybe you have, or just do that bucket list hike that you've wanted to do for a long time. So we are trying to just bring this to kind of the spirit of the challenge in that sense. Maybe let's touch on a little bit of the, well, we talked, I guess, just to finish on this, and I'm sure you guys noticed this when you signed up, but if you do this, you finish, you submit, we will send you guys a finisher shirt this year. We're rotating kind of the shirts and hats, a pin and some stickers. So be sure to finish so that you guys can get the swag. This was last year's swag. Yep, 2024. But yeah, be sure to finish and submit. It's worth it, man. You get a free shirt. I mean, you signed up for the challenge, but you don't get it if you don't submit. So let's make this happen. Okay, we're going to be doing some live streams in the future where we're basically the whole point of them is Q&A. We'll try to track questions and stuff we see in the Facebook group, but overall, if you don't show up with questions, they won't be as valuable.
We're going to actually ask you guys to submit questions before the Q&A through a survey each month that we do these, so that we can come in with even better answers and resources. And because we're going to have some really cool guests on these Q&As, and we want them to be prepared. They want to feel prepared.
Are we keeping some of the guests secret, or are we going to share some, or what are we doing?
We can share everyone who's on here because they're all confirmed.
That have confirmed. Everyone here is confirmed?
Yep.
Okay. So a few years back, we had Aaron from Backcountry Foodie, where we talked a lot about food, nutrition, on the trail stuff. You guys really loved that, so we're going to be bringing her back. We have Justin Outdoors that's going to be coming on. Dude's a gear expert, tests more gear than anyone I know. Eric Hansen, he spends a lot of nights out, has just a really cool balanced opinion. Same Devin Ashby, he's also what I would say just a gear connoisseur, knows so much. We'll bring him on. We've got Sam Child. That dude is always outside, and he tests a bunch of gear because he's a writer for magazines. So we'll bring him on. He's been on our podcast, I believe, too. So in fact, a lot of these guys have been on our podcast, but we can go into specifics when we do these lives. And those are a couple years old, likely. And then Nathan Pippenberg, also a thru hiker. Sam Child is also a thru hiker here, but Nathan, he writes the ultralight column, I want to say, for some of the big magazines. So he tests a lot of gear and is just a very qualified dude.
Sam's actually going to be calling in from midway down the PNT trail.
Really?
When his starts, he's like, I'm happy to get on as long as I have cell service at that point. So,
oh boy.
Yeah, the PNT is no joke.
Yeah.
Tricky, long trail.
Yeah, he's a stud. I love following him on Instagram. He's just always out doing the coolest, craziest stuff. So we have an expert panel of people that we've organized to come on and talk to you guys and motivate you guys and answer any questions that you guys are going to have. So
yeah, we want you guys to think hard for good questions for these guys and bring them to the live streams, and that will just add value for everyone. So
yeah. All right, Derek, how are we doing with questions? I know there's been a lot of chatter going on in here, so let's get to some of the additional questions here.
A lot of it I'm seeing is how the challenge works itself. So we can just kind of reiterate that. A lot of the questions that I've seen are around the stacked side of the trip. What we do want you to do in order to track a stacked submission for your 100-mile challenge is to have a series of overnight trips. If you're just doing day hikes, that's not really backpacking, and it's also not really like multiple day trips. So that is a little further removed than like what the original 100-mile challenge purpose was to do 100 consecutive miles. So if you're going to go on the stacked track, we just want you to do a succession of overnight trips. So that's probably the biggest thing that I get questions on. The next one would be how soon or how late can I do my trips? And honestly, we are not going to be that picky about how soon or how late you do your 100-mile challenge. If it works for you to do your first trip next month before the training period is over, then awesome. Do the trip, count it, and get ready to do your next ones. We just want to get people out on the trail and enjoying themselves and learning. And we know life happens, and that it would be, potentially really tricky to get all of your trips in during the exact trip window. The reason we have a trip window is because we think it's really cool and motivating to have the group doing them at the same time. But as the years have gone on, we've found that we just need to be more and more flexible with that. And so going along with the spirit of things, if you have to start early, then awesome. If you end up getting real close to October towards the end, that's where it will get harder to get your finishers prizes, because we do use those surveys to purchase exactly what we need to send to finishers. And so we won't take late submissions per se, but early ones are no problem. Now, the next thing that I've seen the most questions on is, when is my book shipping, or when is my hoodie shipping? We've shipped out the majority of them, but this year we've been really surprised at the demand for the OV100, and so we ran out of some of the books. We have a replenishment shipment of these books. It should be landing any day now, and then we will ship out your hoodie and your books as soon as possible. But if you haven't gotten a tracking notification yet, just know that you're in that second wave, and we will be shipping it as soon as we can, within the next week. And just know, if you don't have that, you can still access the online course and get started on your training and your trip planning.
Yeah. Question here, I think it was from Matt, was asking if you should be tracking hiking and running miles separate or together. You can totally track those together. When it comes to this, on page 12 here, you'll see the breakdown, and you can also, scan this, and I would print this out, just to have if you want to write on it. I've also seen, so another reason to be in the Facebook group, some people have actually just built Excel sheets and shared them in the Facebook group. If you'd rather do it through Excel, everyone kind of likes to do it different. But on here, you'll see, that we're tracking mileage per week. Run miles are absolutely great, just like hike miles. Kind of going back to that, like the spirit of the concept would be also just time on feet, right? So like, you can run, some of you guys will be able to run these miles really, really quick, but you might only be out there for a shorter amount of time. So hybrid of running, hiking, all of it, it's all good. Combine all of those for sure. But just be aware, I guess, that there is maybe like I say, if you're just running, you might, and you're a super fast runner, you may be able to run these miles really quick, and that doesn't give you, say, the longevity of time on feet or the weight of a backpack. So doing that hybrid approach is a great approach.
Yeah, I was going to say the second half of the training period is where running becomes less helpful, because we really want you to have a weighted pack that's similar to the weight of what you're going to be carrying on your trips. So, but yeah, we refer to time on feet a lot when around the office when we're talking about training, because there's no other way to condition your body other than be out there moving on your feet.
Yeah. So. Derek, would you have one guy saying that some of his comments are like going under review when he tries to post in the Facebook group? Is that common for everyone, or is that?
If your comments or posts are going under review, in Facebook specifically, that's because you haven't been accepted into the program yet. If you paid for the membership, like you are registered, you will be allowed to post in that group. If you have not, we are going to boot you out. So make sure that you have done the sign up survey when you try to join the Facebook group. It's just 2 questions. 1, have you registered? 2, what email did you use to register? If you don't fill that out and don't share that email with us so we can verify that you are in fact a participant, then no,
Okay.
you won't be able to comment in the group.
Okay, so Sierran, I think is how you say that. Just make sure that when you join the Facebook group, you fill out the survey as well. Otherwise, things will be held for review and you may be kicked back out. I think it was Heidi was asking about Coros watches. I don't want to take a lot of time on this, but it is really easy to upload a map and download a map onto your Coros watch and navigate through that. What I do, I just go on to, I map everything out on Onyx Backcountry, and then I get on my phone, I download that GPX file on my phone, and then I open that with Coros, and then it just ports it over to my watch. It's really, really quick and easy, but you should be able to find online if you just Google that, how to do that. It's a really handy tool for sure.
Yeah, we're getting some good questions on the mechanics of the trip. So, like, what is the ideal size of a 100-miler? Or, like, say you plan your 100-miler for 5 days and you finish in 7. Does that become a stacked trip? I would say no. If that was consecutive days that you're out there, then that is still our standard consecutive 100-miler. And so that's what we call the non-stop one in the book. Also, they're asking if there's a specific window that the stacked trips have to be completed in, like if it's a 6-week run or something like that. No, there's no specific window. We have 6 months essentially from now till the end. And if you have a couple of those trips that are during the training period, it's not going to hurt anything. So we really just want you to get out there and make those happen. And likewise, if you go out on your dream trip and you've planned it for 6 days and then a wildfire gets you off trail on day 5 and you're like, oh, well, shoot, now I can't finish the challenge. Well, now you have the option to do one more trip later on, and then you can still get the stacked pin. So.
Yeah. Got one guy asking about kayak camping. Can that be included? I think there's a case for that.
Yeah.
I did my first pack rafting trip recently, and it was a lot of fun.
Maybe Tayson and Tyler talk about the why, our whole overall purpose for doing the challenge, and that could help with a lot of these.
Yeah, I mean, we've touched on this a couple times, but yeah, like for the kayak thing, right? It's like if this is getting you outside for multiple days and getting that, like, again, going back to like the 100 miles, the 100-mile aspect is to get outside for enough time to truly disconnect. I've been on many like overnight trips where I still don't really feel like I got out of my head from work and technology and phone and stress and all those things. A lot of times for me, it's like day 2, day 3, where I'm really getting the benefits of it. And so that's why we focus on the 100-mile aspect. And so if you're following the spirit of that, whether it's kayaking or other things, I think you're going to be in a good spot, and we can work with you to first trip submissions.
Yeah, I think it also comes down to challenging yourself. So if it's a leisurely kayak ride with a sleeping bag in your kayak and you just plop it out at the end of the day and you camp,
If you just float,
you didn't
for
challenge
20
yourself
miles.
very much, but if you're pushing yourself one way or another, and you want to try and submit for that, you could make a case to the team, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this is a hiking challenge, but if there's some element of other adventurous things like that, we're not going to completely shut it down.
Yeah. Someone had a question about pack trip weight, but you may need to clarify, I guess, what you're asking there. We do, as we get farther into the training, we start to tell you to start adding weight to your pack and training with the pack. And honestly, it's great to be training with a little bit more than by the end, like working to a heavier weight than you plan to start the trip with. It's a concept, in physical training called progressive overload, and doing that is just going to set you up for success as well. But yeah, if you want to clarify that question, it looks like Derek's answering this, but Erin is a woman, talking about female speakers. So our very first one will be Erin. She's awesome. She's, like I said, she's been on here before. She's a distance hiker. She's a dietitian. she's got a lot of great insight. So she's out there doing it for sure, and pairing that with a degree as well. Okay, did we miss any questions from kind of farther back? I know there was a billion comments before we got this far down here. I think we've answered some of these as we've gone, some of these really early questions, but we'll kind of go one more round of questions here if we've got them.
So some people are talking about how to use specific watches, like the Coros watch. And just point them towards like the manufacturer website.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the way that I learned how to run the watch, honestly, was I just went to YouTube and searched it, and Coros themselves have some instruction guides. So yeah, I would just Google that. It really is really simple. All you have to do is get the GPX file on your phone, and from there you just open with the Coros app, and it pushes it all through. I am on an Android phone, not an Apple phone, so it might be a hair different, but yeah, they have video walkthroughs. So, and it's gonna be very, very straightforward. So just Google that or go to YouTube and search that, and I think you'll find exactly what you need there. So
We have a question of someone who has already done a 25-mile plus trip. I would say that probably doesn't count. We're counting today as the start date of the whole series. So
counts for training.
Counts for training. And it was in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, which would have been amazing. So it's really good training, and hopefully it'll just motivate you to get out there even more.
Yeah.
There's a couple questions here about what motivates us.
Yeah.
To get out there.
And that actually goes along. There's someone who mentioned the comfort crisis when I was talking about Misogi. That would be a fantastic book to listen to as you start this, or as you're doing this challenge. So it's called The Comfort Crisis, and I'm going to forget the name of the author, but this guy just essentially walks you through the concept of what we believe, in our hearts here, of just life gets in a lot of ways easier and easier, and different things stress us out than before. And by putting yourself in some physical discomfort in nature and pushing your own abilities there, and in the book he talks a lot about like the concept of Misogi and whatnot. There's so many benefits to that. So that would be just a fantastic. We didn't put that. I was actually just looking in the additional resources. That would be one that would be great for us to add. It's not really anything to do with training or execution, but if you're looking for like a motivation book, like a why, go look into The Comfort Crisis. But yeah, like, why do we do this? Honestly, for us, it's a fantastic way to process and reset life. Obviously, it's easy for life to become a blur. I mean, it's like we backpack a lot here. I go usually on a monthly backpacking trip, and if you ask me like, all right, what trips did you go on last year? I'd have a hard time saying things that weren't like the Wind River hike. Like, you know what I mean? These big, super unique situations. So much happens in the course of just 3 or 4 days. I actually, just like with ultra running, you hear this sometimes when people are in ultra marathons. I would say the same thing. When you do a 100-mile effort, it's like a lifetime. You'll have the lowest of lows, you'll have the highest of highs, and you just gain a tremendous amount of wisdom. And that's really like what keeps us going back. Like, there's so much benefit to this too, in terms of like what you get at the other end. There's a lot of benefits in the training aspect. And I that's something that I really learned last year when I was training for an ultra marathon. When I finished the ultra marathon, I actually like almost had like this depressing feeling for 2-3 weeks. And I realized that like I hit this big goal. It was this like, it was incredible, but you hit this high. And I realized that even the 100-mile ultra marathon itself was really, really powerful. But the most important aspect that made me just be in a better spot for months and months and months was the training itself, was the fact that a challenge like this gets you outside more often than normal. It gets you exercising more often than normal, and on a daily basis, you level up. So a lot of us, like, we're going to harp about the actual hike itself. But if you work this program, the benefit is from start to finish. Like, the entire process you will see transformation. You will see benefit. You'll get outside. I mean, getting outside and walking for an hour, hiking for an hour, running for an hour, you will always see, in my experience, an emotional and mental shift from the start of that to the end of that. And that can be with an hour, that can be with a 10-mile hike or run, that can be with a 100-mile challenge like this. So for us, that's the why. We think that we have a big belief that in so many ways, mental and emotional health and physical health are all kind of spiraling down in our current society. And this is the way to help balance lives out. So hopefully that's a good overview, I guess, of the why, like why we feel like this is just so important and why we work so hard to encourage other people to get out there. So
Yeah, Just John Outdoors had a good comment that goes along with that, Tayson. He said you should read the book, The 3-Day Effect. It talks about the importance of time in the outdoors and its effects on your mind and health. So that's an awesome comment. We will definitely check that out.
yeah, I'm making a note of that. Okay, let's do the giveaway. We've had people on here quite a while and had a lot of great questions, and I know there's going to be people who need to jump off here soon. So, how do you guys want to do this giveaway? What's the plan?
So, yeah, just to review for anyone who got here late, we're going to give away 2 of these awesome Outdoor Vitals mugs, a bunch of Scratch Labs electrolytes, and then a sleeping bag or top quilt of your choice. And if you didn't know, our sleeping bags and top quilts all come with these waterproof, airtight dry bags that you can use to vacuum pack your sleeping bag to half its size. And then they also come with a bigger storage bag inside of them. So this is upwards of $400 giveaway that we're going to do right now. And Derek is randomly generating a winner. So as soon as he has that, we will let you guys know who the winner is. And then we will have to have that winner reach out to us tomorrow to our customer service team by emailing support@outdoorvitals.com. And we will get you taken care of. So you got it, Derek?
For the giveaway, can you guys hear me all right?
Hopefully.
We got it, just a couple minutes. I just started a Q&A. You should see it in the chat. So if you're watching the video, you should be able to just look for the chat if you haven't been on there already. To be entered, you do have to add an answer to that Q&A. Could be a simple yes, could be anything you want, but anyone that answers will be entered, and we'll go through and select a random winner.
So they need you're saying that they need to have made a comment of any sort.
Make a comment in this Q&A that I just
All right.
It's a window that just popped up, and it says, do you want some free gear? So you have to click on that. You have to click the button that says ask something, and then go click all the way to the bottom to refresh, Tayson. And then you should see it. It's a little harder to see
I
on
reset
mobile.
my browser here, but
All right. We're getting a ton of entries. They're
Okay.
flying in. So looks like
Yeah.
most people are seeing them.
people are dropping in comments. Derek, we'll let you do your magic.
We'll give you just a few minutes to get your answers in. We do
All right,
have
30
a
more
few-
seconds.
We do have a few hundred people in here.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a shot to get your comments in, but then, yeah, in about 1 minute, we will be selecting a winner right here, right now.
20 seconds. A lot of yeses.
Do you want some free gear? Oh, yes.
It's surprising, you know. I did want to touch on this too. Those of you that have joined this challenge before, I've been kind of ramping up my training again the last little bit, and the things in here we call guiding principles. And the thing about principles is you can study them over and over and over again. So even, you know, myself as someone who had contributed to writing this book and putting this entire program together, I learn by going through this every year again, and I have to relearn and I learn something every time. So don't be afraid if this is your second or third year in this program. Go back and look at the principles. They're always valuable, and just go a level deeper. take what you learned last year about that principle and build on it, right? So repetition is key here.
For those of you who are saying it doesn't work on mobile phone, we are seeing your answers come into the same Q&A answer list.
Just
so
go in
you
the
are
chat.
included.
Yeah, just put a comment in the chat, regardless if you're on mobile or desktop. So,
Yep.
okay,
Still
Derek,
counts, everybody.
we're gonna say no more entries, and Derek can attempt to generate this.
Yep, here we go. All right, so entry is closed.
Entries
We
closed.
got the random winner coming up here.
Keep in mind, we'll do additional giveaways on future lives as well. And because you're a part of this program, we'll also be running some like exclusive sales just to you guys. So make sure that these emails are coming to your main inbox so you don't miss any of those things, because maybe we'll put something on sale that is, specifically in need for you for this upcoming trip. So, all right.
Okay, our winner, we got it. Our winner is Ryan Alexander. That is
Ryan
your
Alexander.
name. I don't know if that's your real name. Ryan, what you're going to need to do is email support@outdoorvitals.com. And we'll get you all your giveaway stuff. We just need to get your address. If you email us, then you are the winner today.
Okay. Ryan Alexander, is that what you said?
Yes.
Make sure to email us, and you will be the winner. Do we want to pick a follow-up person just in case we don't get an email?
Yep, here we're generating another random winner. Ryan, if we don't hear from you in the next day or two, then we will have this as our follow-up winner.
Let's just keep that one to ourselves, and then we'll reach out to them. Because I'm sure we can probably get their email through the system. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if those are the people that are using their main name, we should be able to find him. But
Yeah.
he's responding, so he's heard it. He knows he's the winner. All right,
Cool.
Make sure to reach out to us, Ryan, and we'll set you up with a new top quilt or sleeping bag. And then, is he getting both of these?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. The
Winner takes
mugs,
all.
All the scratch labs you can use through your training, and your preferred sleeping bag or top quilt. So congrats, Ryan. Thank you to everybody who logged on here and to everyone else who is participating. We are going to allow late registrations. So
Hustle
right
your
now-
friends. Get them in here.
yeah, right now is the time to plan your bucket list backpacking trip and then recruit your friends or family to come with you and get them into the challenge so that you actually make it happen. This is a really good tool to create a little more commitment than you would normally.
Yep. It's always fun to get people into the outdoors, bring them with you. And the last thing you need too is to bring your friend along who's not doing the challenge and you've done the challenge, because they will not be trained and prepped and ready. In fact, I just went on a trip and one of the guys was like brand new to backpacking, and the other three of us on the trip had backpacked a lot, and you don't want that scenario. It's tough. I ended up having, because I had to catch an airplane, I had to break off from the group and finish the hike solo and a few things like that. So if you're going to bring a friend, get them in the group so that they can also do this framework and get a turn hoodie and all of that. But like, you sell them on the turn hoodie, but then make them do the framework is what I'm saying, so that you guys can do your bucket list hikes successfully as a group. So yeah, get them in there. We'll leave registration open. We'll ship these as they came. We've already gone through more books than we've ever printed before, and we are printing more. And so if you haven't got yours, they'll keep coming, and those that are registering, we'll keep printing them until people aren't registering anymore. But I mean, we will have a cutoff date, don't get us wrong, but we are going to leave it open a few more weeks. So
Yep. Lots more to come.
lots more to come. Super excited to interact with more and more of you, and we'll see you guys, or you'll see us at least on a future live video. So,
Yep.
okay, till
Thanks.
then.